Hello and welcome again to the Ace Talk Show radio style. This is a continuation on from the Two Gas show with Angel and I Tank Titan. Angel and I continued on to talk about the GE with what this trade is going to imply. So here's the rest of the show, just with Angel, PK Angel, Demonic Angel, and myself. Alright, now, talking about this vote thing with the wilderness and then the free trade, or the trade's going to be, limit's going to be removed, the GE probably is going to be impacted a lot. Do you normally use a GE for certain items that you will get, or?
Yeah, I've recently been introduced into scaling, so there's not a way where I could get every single item I need for quests and player versus monsters, which I'm really into. So the GE is something big in my Runescape live.
Now, do you think this trade's gonna really impact your GE buying ability? Is everybody going to start going to their friends to get items instead of buying it off the GE, or do you think the prices might skyrocket because everybody is just giving it to their friends?
I think I'm not gonna be able to buy anything on the GE for a reasonable amount. I think I'm gonna have to buy stuff for about 500k more than they're worth, because since there's not gonna be a higher or lower price if the update happens, then I will not be able to buy an item for the GE price. I'm gonna have to buy it for the price that they set for it. If a person who has 1k sharks wants to sell the shark 5k each, and there's no more sharks in the game, you're gonna have to buy 5k each, or use a different resource, if you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, it's definitely going to determine how the players are going to sell their items. I mean, things might go way up because players are going to ask a lot for them, or they're going to go way down. I actually think people will try to stick with the high and low range that's still going to be displayed on the GE, but they might ask like 100 more or 1,000 more than what the high range is. Definitely if it's in demand.
Yeah. What's your position in if you get a world tour right now, you can probably buy full barrels set for about, I don't know, a lot of money, not a lot of money, like half of what's the price in the G is. Do you think people who do that are doing something bad, or do you think it's good that they're doing that and trying to get rid of the crashing items?
Actually, I don't really know how that's gonna be. I don't know if it's a good thing. I don't know if it's a bad thing. Really, I just suggest if you have items that you use, that you bought or whatever, and you actually use them, to hold on to them. Otherwise, yeah, definitely if you want certain items, you're definitely watch the GE for the dropping prices of prices crashing, because players are selling. Like for example, a lot of people still want the D-Axe or the Dragon Pick, or they're looking for God Swords or the Sarah Sword. Definitely the lower level players. Now is the time for them to buy it, and then of course just hold on to it, because you never know what's going to happen with this update of the release of the limits.
Are you going to be affected by that? Are you going to be affected by the Grand Exchange and all that? Or not really?
I myself won't be affected by it, because I gain everything myself. Everything that I need for my skills, I do myself. If I need snape grass for potions, I go get it myself. If I need S's for rune crafting, I go do the mini game, the Great Orb Project. Or the harder items to get, You just gotta find out where they're at in the game to where you can get them fairly easily. It's just, of course, taking your time to collect it. So, I mean, to me, that's just the whole part of the game. That's the challenge. Not to spend all my money on skills, but to collect it myself and save all that GP. And hell, I'm a level 124 combat, so it's fairly easy to move around RuneScape with all my balanced stats. Basically, everything's at 92: mage, range, attack, strength, and defense. Higher HP, of course. But there's always a place to go get the items you need. It's just willing to go do so. So yeah, it doesn't really impact me at all, except for when I want to sell an item. If I want to sell something because I have a large amount, normally I offer it to my clan chat if other players want it there, and then if not, then I'll throw it in the GE. A lot of the times I'll sell it for lowest just because I'm done using it, or I have way too much of it that I'm never going to use it all or whatnot.
To be honest, I think that's the point of RuneScape. At first, I thought making everything yourself and not using other people for stuff, what's the point? Making something to the point where you can make anything out of it except money. So that's what I think was intended in RuneScape whenever it came out. Making everything yourself.
Yeah, that was the big challenge. Like the GE, when they first brought it out, I thought it was a good thing until I realized that what they allowed, I think they allowed too much on it. I think they should have allowed only completed items, so to speak. No raw materials.
Why is that? Why do you think that? Why no raw materials?
Because if you look at, I don't know if you remember during a time frame just before GE and just after, how many players actually had 99 in any skill?
Like cooking.
Yeah, example. The cooking is a huge one. Now, if you weren't able to buy that raw fish, other than actually going from a trader, going to a trade world, or actually shouting out, buying raw fish or raw shark or raw whatever, then at least you're putting effort into it to buy it.
Instead of waiting 30 minutes for it to come into your hands.
Exactly. Another huge thing right now, potions. Unfinished potions. A lot of people are buying those up still, and then they're completing them for, adding the last ingredient for the experience. And there's no challenge in that. You didn't get the herbs yourself. You didn't have to go out and get the vials. You didn't have to fill the vials with water if you bought the plain vials or made the vials from crafting, which I do actually. I make a lot of my vials from crafting. Sand and the soda ash and so on.
Which is a big challenge, actually.
Yeah, that's the way you had to do things before GE. Now, if they would have not put the raw materials in there to where you could only buy potions, you could only buy, cooked sharks, you could only buy completed bows, stuff like that, I think the game would have been a whole lot better off. But then again, they didn't, and people really enjoyed being able to level up really quickly. But then again, we have so many 99s now, and then there's even players maxing out a whole lot quicker. Definitely.
See, we're looking at it in a skiller's point of view. Let's think about it in a melee or something like that point of view. Because people who are just to get into RuneScape make their 99s in like attack, strength, and defense, and some useful stats. All they do will be pkang. They wouldn't mind in doing anything else. So I don't think it's kind of fair that where you're going to that only finished stuff could be sold in the GE because other people who don't have those resources couldn't afford it.
Well, that's just it. If you are mainly PvM, player versus monster, or meleeer, or a pure ranger, or whatever, that's the whole challenge of being a pure or even being a full combative person. I mean, if you weren't able to buy raw materials, you'd still have to buy shark. You'd still have to buy food. You'd still have to buy potions. You could buy all those potions for your melee or your range or your mage. They're finished products, so it wouldn't affect a melee person or a pure combative person at all, because really they're not buying any raw material.
Oh, I see where you're going. I got it wrong. I didn't understand completely what you were saying, but now I do.
Yeah, so I mean, the only thing that would be hard would be, well, I guess, yeah, it would be players actually getting the actual skills up instead of combat. I mean, the actual skills is what makes the game, what makes your character. And then the aspect that it was more like a real life situation. If you die, you are going to lose stuff. That's all there is to it. And then, you know, to gain items or whatnot, you had to have skills. Well, in real life, if you don't have skills to do something, you ain't going to get the job, or you ain't going to be able to do it. Period. So, I mean, that's the way I thought it should be. I mean, if I could go spend, you know, let's say, you know, $20,000 to get a master's degree in cooking or whatever, just by snapping my fingers, because that's the way the GE is, you know, let's go spend, you know, well, I guess it wouldn't be 20 million, it might be, but in buying raw shark, and you're a master skill level in cooking.
Yeah, but don't you think you would it would be enough making the money for that? Getting the money for something also requires skill, because, well, it didn't before, but now it does, because you can't really get free money. So I think it's you gotta work for stuff. So.
Well, yeah, I see your point there. How of course I've come across this a lot, where people say, "Well, I combat and I make money with combat to buy the skills that I buy." Actually, the way, well, that was another thing that changed with the GE was back in the older days or whatnot. You only really got drops that covered what you used with a little bit of profit. And then on the rare occasion, of course, you had your very uncommon drops, like your D chains and stuff like that. That was to help your character out as far as weaponry or whatever. Now it's not so much of an issue. Basically, you're going there and you're collecting, because you've already did merchanting or something like that, and you've maxed out quite a few of your skills or whatnot, to where you're going to combat or do Slayer and you're making money left and right, and it's way more profit than what you're actually using to gain that skill, to gain level in that skill. So, I mean, yeah, I see the point of being able to buy a skill because you earned the money. You earned it through your drops and stuff like that, but, you know, it's all kind of linked together.
Yeah, it's not. There's not a right way to it. There's a right side and there's a left side.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's always the pros and cons. That's when you that's when you know something is done right in a game, is if 50% of the people agree with it and 50% of the people don't agree with it.
Basically, you make everybody happy by not making anybody happy.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have half the players happy and half the players not happy, and that's when you know you've hit balance. You hit a happy medium that everybody's going to like and dislike and still be able to continue on with the game, because later on there's going to be something that the 50% of people didn't like are going to like, and the people that liked the last one, 50% of them, you know, that 50% will probably not like the next thing. So it all balances out.
Yeah, it balances out perfectly. which I think it's been one of Jagex's goals for a few years now. Balance everything out.
Yeah, and they keep trying to do new things and keep coming up with innovative ways to do so, but they kind of screw up on that same aspect, you know.
Which I think any company that's starting, it's going to screw up a couple of times.
Well, yeah, I mean, they admitted on the, when they did the, what was that? The get-together, the Rune Fest. They admitted at Rune Fest during their big conference type thing they did there, that they screwed up on the climbing boots. They should have never changed the prices of the climbing boots. They admitted that. So,
yeah, well, if they realize that it's did something wrong, why not fix it right away?
because of all the players that did have a big amount because they were using them for junk or whatever, that did make a big lump off of it. They figured the game eventually would absorb that GP back into it. So instead of making more players mad, they didn't realize it was a big mistake until it was too late, basically.
Yeah, I think the same, and I think there's gonna be screw-ups, and there's gonna be good parts about it and everything. So I don't think there's gonna be a perfect to it anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, we'll just see what the future holds here, and we'll go from there.
Thanks a lot for having me on your show. It was a pleasure talking to you and discussing everything with you.
Yep, and you're more than welcome to join me again to be a guest on the show. So to end it off here, hope you all enjoyed the show, and until next time, have fun and good luck.